questions about, and I'll just record this one section just so you guys know when you go into breakout rooms, we won't record that. But please go ahead and add any of the questions that you would like into the chat for Tyler. This segment we call Big Fish. So Tyler's the big fish. And what you guys are doing when you submit a question is you're submitting bait. So he's going to look at the chat and he's going to decide, which questions do I want to answer? Because oftentimes we're not able to get to all of them. I want to get you guys into your breakout rooms, but we do have a few minutes where we can ask some questions. And then any questions we haven't answered, like I said, we'll put those on our LinkedIn group and we'll get those answered. So please, I'll give you guys a second to type your questions in. I'm sure they'll come rolling in a second. As we going back really quick, Tyler, that as we set up for the next activity, identifying opportunities, since that's what we're about to do, is identify opportunities where we can apply automation. Mm-hmm. Can you just, I know you covered it briefly, but can you just give us a quick overview that framework really fast on how to identify those best opportunities?
Yeah, I'll go back to what Alan's team did for us, which was the dowsing rod and then how I landed decisions. So first, we had his data and AI team analyze every email that we'd received in the last, I don't remember, it was 6 months worth of emails, every single email we received, and then every single email we sent in that 6-month period. And it was a scatter plot of basically words in many ways. What are the phrases and words that customers use on their inbound emails? And what are the common templates or phrases and sentences we put together on our responses? And you can see clusters in the scatter plot of emails we received and emails that we sent. And those were the dowsing rods, and we named them. At Divvy Homes, people would ask us, where do we operate? Where do we service? Do we work in Houston, Texas? Blah, blah, blah. Sometimes we would send templates that were about the next steps in the sales process. And we would name those. And what I was able to do was bring in my frontline team members and say, okay, what happens in this? When a customer sends these emails, what are they really getting at? And what response do you send? And we were able to match up the intent of what the customer said with a very common template that would solve all of these intents. And that was really powerful to see these two things married up, of like the actual data around what was sent and received and what the human experience was on the support team to identify those opportunities.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got some questions for you in here, Tyler. Which one do you want to take a stab at first?
I'm going to start at the top. I'm the kind of fish that just bites on the bait that comes in first.
All right.
So identify content clues. I think we said that, but who's watching it? Who's watching the AI is the way I'm going to interpret this one. And I think this is the part you need to be really cautious on, is you don't want AI sending weird things out. ChatGPT is a really good example. It's a very scary thing because it's getting away from some companies that are implementing it right now and saying some pretty weird stuff out there. So you have to be really careful about just letting the automation go without checking on it. You need QA, whether it's human observation. I think Y Meadows had a really cool system that I'm super bought into, which was a review queue that helped train the AI. So it actually, at the very beginning, we had team members or suckers like me who would just stare at every single intent that they deemed a high percentage match. And I was able to read the customer's email and read the proposed response and say, yes, that's a match, or no, it's not. And over time, the AI got really good at automatically identifying what was the correct customer question and matching it up with the pre-written content. And once it hit a certain threshold of quality, I stopped looking at it. And then I monitored it by recontact rate. And as recontact rate rose and fell, it gave me indications on whether we need to go back to the review queue and look at it before it sends out or not. And we got the chance to constantly train the AI and make it higher and higher quality. So no matter what, you have to devote some observation to this. I think some companies are going to serve you up with easy ways to do it. Other companies, maybe you need to actually have somebody who's dedicated to reviewing it on a very regular basis, as a resource position. So I think that's what I would say there. How long did it take to define, implement, and see measurable results? Prioritization, prioritization, prioritization. How big is your first opportunity you're going to attack? Is it small? Then you can probably move quick and implement pretty quick. You might be able to take a handful, 3 or 4 opportunities and move fast. Is it high risk or low risk? If you send the wrong response to a customer, is this something that could get you into compliance issues? Or is this something that really just requires a quick recovery by moving that interaction over to a human being instead of moving it over to a legal procedure, right? You need to weigh these options. But I will tell you, our first opportunity with Y Meadows was low risk, low risk. How do we contact you by phone? What's your phone number? It was a high volume thing because we didn't expose our phone number. And it was very easy to deploy a response that had low risk of turning into something pretty wonky. So we moved fast. I believe, Alan, that it took us end to end maybe 3 weeks to get that first automation in place. And that took a huge chunk of that 13.4% that we were talking about right off of our plate. So you can move pretty fast, I think, with a lot of vendors if your signals are strong on what the customer is asking and what the response can be, and your risk is low enough. But I highly encourage you to weigh all of those factors before moving too fast.
Awesome. We've got time, Tyler, for one more. If I could surface some bait for you to consider. Someone said, I want to hear about some of the fun examples. That might be a great way to end this is by sharing an example of your experience. If you want, you're the fish. So, or you pick a different one, your choice.
I mean, I've shared a few examples already. I think the other examples that are fun in the nerdy, like I love saving money way, was the AI is not just about responding to customers. It can be about linking your systems up and gathering information. So another thing we used AI to do was to take our email platform that sat completely separate from our CRM, no communication. And we were able to bring the property values that lived in a CRM about a customer into our email platform, and it tagged every single ticket, and it made our customer insights program that we fed data back into the business and product teams much stronger because we had data on every single interaction, every single one about what drove that contact. So that was big. The second thing was a backwards link from the email platform into our CRM to actually take action. So GDPR is one example. When a customer writes in and says, like, I want you to delete all of my information, my team used to have to take that from the email platform, go over to the CRM, get there, log into the admin tool, take the action in the admin tool. Y Meadows made it so there was a tag that we could add in the email platform that went back over to our CRM and executed on all of that, saving probably 3 minutes per interaction every time we have that. So, like those are fun things that you can do, especially in your young, immature environments where maybe your tool set is really disparate. AI can bring those things together and have automation of workflows for you too, and keep you from having to waste human time on taking out things that are really structured and pretty easy to do.
Wow. Awesome, Tyler. Well, this has been fantastic. There are a lot of questions out there. Don't worry, folks. We will post these questions. We'll translate these questions using automated AI into the LinkedIn group. It's already happening right now, and we'll have Tyler hop in and spend some time in LinkedIn. Tyler, wonderful. I feel like we could ask you a whole bunch of questions about this moving forward. We do have to move on, and I'm excited to see what everyone else comes out with. But thank you very much for your time, and appreciate your perspective on this and some of the examples that you shared.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
All right, folks. So here we go. Now we got to have some fun. We now take what Tyler has told us, and we are going to put you into your breakout groups. So what I would like for you to do is when you guys get into your breakout groups, I want you all to have a conversation about where AI can be applied inside your organizations. I don't know if you felt this. I definitely felt this while Tyler was talking, but it seems, you know how I mentioned the landscape's changing? It seems like it behooves all of us probably to get very comfortable with our systems and processes and how we're going to implement automation, AI inside of those things, and become experts at that. So this is a great opportunity to identify some of those key parts. The reason why I chose this as our discussion in the breakouts is because I think it's going to help you, one, think critically when you're hearing someone else's process, think critically about how automation might be applied there. But second, you might be able to, you're going to get access to a lot of different use cases, which